Yo, what up everyone? Welcome back to another video. Now in today's video, I've got an improvement guide for you. I'm gonna hit you with 8 specific tips that should help improve your gameplay, and it's gonna apply to all skill levels. Now I know this because I've done over 50 Apex coaching lessons on Fiverr, and I've coached people from anywhere from an Apex Predator to a brand new player, and just about every skill level in between that. And all of these tips, I've worked with them on, and I've talked with people about, and they've always helped them. Now, some of these you may already know, but I urge you to see what all 8 are and see if maybe at least a few of them can help you, because I guarantee you a couple of them will. Some of them are underrated and some of them aren't talked about as much, but I have over 4,000 hours in this game. So trust me when I say this, these are things that help me all the time and they've helped me win fights. The last thing I want to mention before I get into it is that some of these tips don't really have gameplay to back them up because they're not necessarily those types of tips. They're more general things that go along with the dynamics of the game. So if you have any questions about them, you can leave them in the comments and I'll be sure to clarify them if I'm not clear enough in the video for you. Without further ado, let's get into the video though. All right guys, the first tip is make sure you're free looking when you're jumping. This is like often overlooked and I can't even emphasize it enough for you. Get info on how many people are landing with you. And if you're not being landed on, get info on how many teams are landing in the neighboring POIs, because then you can know where to rotate to. Another thing to be looking out for when you're doing this is how many people have already jumped in the dropship. Was the dropship halfway over its route, or was it just at the beginning and half of the lobby already launched? You know, then you can get info on like, okay, the majority of teams landed on this side of the map. So if I'm looking to get into engagements, I should go here. And on the flip side, let's say it's a ranked match. If you're looking to avoid a hectic engagement, then you know, hey, 7 teams landed Rift. Maybe we should avoid that. You can get a lot of information from just jumping, looking at how many people are in the dropship, and free looking when you're launching. A lot of people don't do this. You'd be surprised. A lot of people just jump and just kind of go in blindly. And although things can change from the beginning of the game, it's still really important to try to set yourself up for success by getting as much info as you can. All right, number 2, guys, backpack inventory. Make sure you're not carrying unnecessary things like attachments that you're not using and ammo for guns you're not using. Make sure you know what you're looking for. If I'm running a light gun and a shotgun, then I know I'm looking for light attachments, light ammo, maybe a shotgun bolt, and then I'm looking at like my heals inventory. I'm not carrying heavy mags, energy mags, all those things. I understand if you want to carry one of those things because you're looking to swap a gun. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about people that just pick up things and then forget about it in their backpack, and then when they wander over something they need, they have to pause and they have to drop the things, or they're in a death box looting it and their backpack's filled with things they don't actually need or want, and so they gotta swap it and it takes time. And all of those things are unhealthy habits to develop in Apex. So you want to be proficient with your looting. So just know what you're looking for. Know what guns you're running, obviously, and know what ammo/attachments you're looking for. As far as heals go, the ideal heal inventory for me, depending on my backpack size, is 2 to 4 shield batteries, 4 to 8 shield cells, 4 syringes, and 2 med kits. Now there's a little discretion with all of that, but that's generally what most high-level players are going to carry. Obviously, if I'm gold armor, you know, I might not carry bats, and I might just take that slot that I'm carrying bats for and up it to cells. So I'd have 12 cells, and I'd maybe not carry med kits, you know, or maybe I can't find bats, so I'm going to carry 12 cells or 16 cells. But ideally you want 2 to 4 bats, 4 to 8 cells, 4 syringes, and 2 med kits. Phoenix kit, if you can fit it and you need it or you want it, that's fine as well. But I don't recommend carrying like 12 syringes and like 0 batteries and, you know, 4 med kits. You know, I always think about it like this way. You need to carry more shields because in Apex, you're going to get cracked before you're going to get hit to one shot. So shields more, health less, but you still want to carry health, obviously. Now, this brings me to my next tip. Tip number 3, unless you're playing on mouse and keyboard and you have each heal bound to a specific key, then this will apply to you. If not, for the mouse and key players who have this, you can skip over it. All right, for the heal wheel, that's what I call it. You know, when you pull up your heal inventory and you can move it in a circle and pick which heal you want. Get in the habit of leaving the heal wheel on shield batteries. If you don't have shield batteries, leave it on cells. Once again, you're gonna get cracked before you're gonna get hit to one shot. So if I leave my heal wheel on syringes, which sometimes I do and I'm in a hectic situation, I'm not thinking about it, and I get cracked, then I have to pause for a second, pick up the heal wheel, swap it to batteries or cells, and then start healing. And when you're in a situation where seconds matter, this can make all of the difference. It's just another healthy habit to apply to your gameplay. Get in the habit of leaving the heal wheel on shields, whether it's bats or cells. All right, before I get into the next tip, if anybody's new here and isn't already subscribed, I hope you will consider subscribing so you don't miss out on my next upload. I post a ton of unique Apex content and we're very close to 4,000 subs. All right, let's get into number 4. Now this one is a bit more nuanced, but it is important to know if you're a solo queue player and you feel like you're struggling as a solo. Now, if one of your teammates is pretty far up ahead of you and they end up dying and they have no comms, meaning they didn't communicate anything to you, you have no idea about the situation of the fight. Did he get 3-man? Did he die to a 3-on-1? Did he die to a 1-on-1? If you know nothing about the fight, don't just feel compelled to run into the fight and die or try to save them, because honestly, most of the time, you're just gonna feed your opponent 3 separate 3-on-1s. Because of the nature of just solo queuing, most of the time people aren't communicating unless they're talking crap. Besides the exceptions where people are actually being positive and helpful with their comms, most of the time they'll play up ahead of you, they'll end up dying, and if they don't leave the game right away, or even if they do, I'll see people try to go and like avenge their death, but they just end up throwing their game as well. So take it slow, try to go in with your other teammate, try to make it a 3-on-2, give yourself a better chance of winning the fight. Don't just feel compelled because your teammate died and was like overexposed to go into the situation blindly, because you have no idea like what armor your opponents are on, how many of them there are, what their angles are, all of these factors which go into every single Apex fight. So take it slow, try to assess the situation. Hey, are we going to try to retrieve banner here? How are we going to go about it? All of those things. But don't just be like, oh my god, my teammate got knocked, I need to go in and save the day, because most of the time you're just going to throw your game as well. All right, number 5. Your teammates' legends will have quips and they will say things about what they're doing. So as long as you don't have dialogue volume turned off in your settings, you will be able to pick up on little cues here and there about what they're doing. So for instance, Pathfinder will say a quip like grappling when he's grappling. That may give me some insight as to, is Pathfinder in danger? Like maybe I don't have line of sight on my teammate and I hear that they're using their tactical or their ultimate or something like that. They will also let you know when there's a third party, and generally I would say 99% of the time it's accurate. I'm sure a lot of you guys who are, you know, everyday players or people who've played the game a lot know about these quips, but I'm telling you, you can gather information from these quips and they will help you when you're going into fights. Any sort of info you can gather in a fight is always going to be beneficial to you. So keep your ears open and listen for some of these cues. All right, number 6. Now this is a basic one, but it's still something that I see over and over again with people making this mistake. And I'll be honest, I have fallen victim to it plenty of times as well. Make sure you're reloading your primary and your secondary if you're swapping to them in a fight. So if I'm gonna use my Volt here and then use my Mastiff, I need to make sure I'm reloading both of these guns here. Now, if you have a gold mag, the gun will automatically reload itself after about 5 seconds, I believe, if it's holstered. So that's not a habit to rely on. You want to make sure that you're getting in the habit of remembering to reload both your guns. You don't want to end up swapping to one of your guns when it's not reloaded, when someone's right in your face. And that is the difference between you losing the fight and winning it. So once again, very simple tip, but it's just another healthy habit to develop. All right, guys, number 7. If you're playing with friends or randoms, it doesn't matter. Be aware of where they are. If you're about to engage in a fight, and if they aren't directly in your field of view, then refer to the minimap. It will show how close they are to you. And timing is important in any fight. So understanding where your teammates are, what angles they have, what angles your opponents have on your teammates is really critical. Now, it's a very small detail that can make such a huge difference. If I'm ahead of my teammates and I'm rolling up to take a fight and all of a sudden it's 3 people staring at me, well then I'm gonna have to reposition because it's gonna be a very easy 3-on-1 for them. I'm gonna need my teammates to be close, to have a distraction, or to potentially shoot at my opponents. It's a small thing, but it comes down to being spatially aware, and it will be very critical when you're fighting. Last tip, number 8. If you don't use your mic, aka using comms, then be sure to be familiar with the pinging system. There are 8 specific pings that you can use in Apex that let your teammates know a lot of information. Now, this is a great aspect about Apex. It allows you to convey a ton of information to your teammates without saying a word. Now, if you're playing ranked, I always recommend using a mic, but if you're playing pubs, you can make specific pings, and if your teammates are aware of what you're pinging, they should be able to pick up on a lot of information that you can convey. So it is an obvious tip, but I see it all the time where players don't use pings in the correct fashions, and they maybe just don't even use them at all. So consider adapting using the pinging system more frequently. If this video helped you in any way or you got any value out of it, I'm once again asking you to consider subscribing. And if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to slap a like on it. I'll catch you guys on the next upload. Thanks for watching. Peace.